Could it be? For me, your me, Louie T. Welcome to the NFC North 2019 predictions and preview video for the upcoming season. I'm going to give you my projections for what's going to happen in the NFC North in 2019. This is a very competitive division. Similar to the next division we're going to talk about, the final division we're going to talk about in the AFC North. I think it's three pretty damn good teams that are going to beat the hell out of each other, and then one team that just stinks, that everybody else is going to beat the hell up on and pile up some victories against. And so I think you can kind of imagine and pretty much predict who I think the bad team in this division is going to be. I think the other three are going to duke it out for playoff positioning, and one of those teams is going to end up the odd man out. But I think two out of the three teams that I believe are really good in this division are going to find their way into the postseason. And it wouldn't shock me if all three of these teams made it to the postseason, or I get one of the two out of the three teams wrong, and it's one of the other teams that actually make it. So this is a really good division. Hard to really tell what's going to take place, just like it is with any division. And this, I'm not saying much by saying that, but I have my hunch as to what's going to take place in this division. I actually feel really strong about this division, unlike some of the others that I've broken down. I think I feel good about what I'm about to predict in the NFC North. But then again, I feel good about my predictions in the NFC North every year. And generally, it starts with the Packers. It ends with the Packers. Not necessarily the case this year, although it's not that far off either. You know how I feel about Aaron Rodgers. He's a bad, bad man. And anytime the bad man is healthy and he comes out to play, usually it's bad for the opposition. So I really don't know what to expect from Green Bay this year because they have a new head coach. It's a different scene in Green Bay this year. They've got some defensive pieces to play with now. So Mike Patton in year 2 with his defense, now with some actual ammo in his gun. What does he do? Chicago, they surprised a lot of people last year. No one's going to be fooled by your shenanigans this year. Everybody's looking out for the Bears. Hell, the NFL is telling anybody that, well, listen, hey, the Bears are going to be pretty damn good. We're putting them on primetime television 6 times. 5 if you count Thanksgiving as a non-primetime game. I count Thanksgiving. No other game is on. Nothing else is on. It's a primetime game. I know it's not in a primetime slot. Who gives a shit? The Bears are on 6 times. Not 5, 6. All right? That's New England Patriot, Dallas Cowboy territory right there. You don't get in that territory unless you're the elite of the elites. Well, the Bears are NFL royalty. This is the 100th year. The Bears are one of the most historic franchises. They're actually good. It all kind of syncs up. So we're going to see a lot of the Bears this year. The Bears. And then the Vikings. They're the enigma of the division. We're going to talk about all of that and then some. Let's jump into the NFC North and start with the team that won this division a season ago, the Chicago Bears. The Bears. Let's see what the Bears look like for 2019. So you start week 1, and the NFL decided to go away from the Super Bowl winner in the 100th year anniversary and go with the longest standing rivalry in NFL history to date, the Packers and the Bears. And so the Bears in historic Soldier Field will be hosting the first game of the 100th season of the NFL. And wouldn't you know it, they're going to take care of business at home versus the Packers in a game that I fully expect them to win. And it's not going to be easy. Just like last year, first game of the season, Sunday Night Football for these two teams. And they had the damn Packers right where they wanted them, dead to rights, let them off the hook. I don't see them doing that. That was a Bears team that didn't know how to win yet. They didn't know they were good yet. They were still trying to figure that out. Matt Nagy had told them at the beginning of the year, we're going to be a good football team. And we're going to go prove it week 1. All right, nobody's giving us a chance. We're on the road at Green Bay, and everybody thinks we're going to get a mud hole stomped on us. And we're going to go in there, and we're going to show everybody just how good we are. And if Kyle Fuller could catch on that last interception attempt, they would have beat the Packers in week 1 last year. I think they're going to take them out this time and get it done. Last year, Aaron Rodgers was on one leg and came back and beat them. 1 leg, 2 legs, I don't think it matters. They're going to take care of business this year, week 1. You go to the week 2 matchup, and you know what's crazy about this game? First of all, I got them losing that game. But here's what's crazy is the guy that knows the most about this Bears offense, and I know Matt Nagy is going to have a couple of tricks up his sleeve for his old comrade in Vic Fangio. But first of all, I love Vic Fangio as a defensive mind in this league, and Vic's one diabolical bastard, and I think he's going to have some shit ready for this Chicago Bears attack. He knows their weaknesses. He knows their strengths. He knows what players can do what in what situations. So Tariq Cohen and some of those other guys, he's going to look to take those guys away and make the one guy who most teams are going to come into the game saying, hey, we need to make this guy beat us, Mitchell Trubisky. And let's see if Mitchell, his mama named him Mitchell, I'm going to call him Mitchell Trubisky, is able to do that against this vaunted Broncos defense on the road. I think not. I'll take the Broncos in that football game. But the next week, they're on Monday night again. I told you, that was the first game of the season, Thursday Night Football, to get the season kicked off. You're going to see them again on Monday Night Football on the road at Washington. That's a very winnable game for the Redskins, but I, at the end of the day, think that the Bears are going to take care of business there. And so totally expect them to go into FedEx, take care of business, come out with the dub, and keep it moving. Speaking of keeping it moving, the following week, they're at home versus Minnesota. So for the second time in your first 4 weeks, you've got an NFC North opponent on the schedule at the crib. So you better do work early because a lot of your big games in the division at the crib. You falter early in the division at home. Now you got a tough slate in front of you because now you got to go on the road and win in some tough environments later on in the season. You don't want to put yourself in that position. And I think the Bears understand the severity and the levity of these situations. And so it's no laughing matter. Week 4 versus the Vikings. They're going to take care of business and they're going to take out the Vikings. And so then they're at the Oakland Raiders week 5. I believe this is a London game if I'm not mistaken. But nonetheless, Khalil Mack, a little bit of revenge against his old mates, takes care of business. They win that football game. Going into their bye week, they're 4-1. Are the Bears feeling good about the start to their season? They come out of the bye. High octane offense in the Saints. No problem for this Bears defense at the crib. They befuddle and smother the Saints offensive attack and get another impressive victory to run their record to 5-1. They're playing some outstanding football. Here come the Chargers to the crib, and the Chargers aren't very good at this point of the season, but that doesn't really matter because the Chargers are one of those teams that can play up to the level of their competition, and that's exactly what they do here, getting the win on the road versus the Bears. And so the Bears drop this football game against the Chargers. If I can find it. Here we go. And so that starts a little bit of a slide for the Bears as they drop that one. Then they go on the road the next week to the Philadelphia Eagles. Not an easy place to play and go get a win. I think the Eagles are actually going to be really good this year, and thus I think you're going to lose that football game as well. But then you bounce back in your third. You've played 3 games in the division, all of them at the crib. This time it's the Detroit Lions. Detroit, no contest for you. You take care of them. And now you're 3-0 in the division, but they're all at home. So now you've got to go on the road in every single environment in the division later on in the season. And so that's going to be a tough ask. But you took care of business at the crib like you're supposed to. So now you're at the Los Angeles Rams on a Sunday night. They're looking for revenge. Revenge. Because of what you did to them last year. And what you did to them was very disrespectful. But you were at the crib. No excuses, though. That was nasty what you did to them. They're out for revenge, and they're going to get it on a big stage. Similar to the one you got them on last year on Sunday night, they're going to do the same thing. This time they're at home on Sunday night, and they're going to get the win. Now you're at home for the Giants after that loss. And you bounce back. I mean, the Giants is a nice team to bounce back against. And so you do exactly that. Then you go short week, short turnaround, Thanksgiving, and Turkey Day game versus the Lions. And I think this is your second time in 3 years or so playing in this Turkey Day game versus the Lions. Nobody respects the Lions on Thanksgiving anymore. I remember there was a time when man, it's tough to beat Detroit on Thanksgiving, man. They could be a really bad team and they show up and they find a way to get it done because they're one of the teams that have been fortunate enough to play on Thanksgiving every single year. And just being at home in that environment, it's tough to go to Detroit. Nobody gives a shit about Detroit in Detroit on Thanksgiving anymore. They get disrespected by AFC teams, by NFC teams. They get violated on Thanksgiving every single year. And you're going to continue the tradition this year by going to Detroit and taking care of business and getting the win. And so you get another week in between games. Normally after that Thursday game, you get a couple of extra days. They say, nope, you play again on a Thursday. This time you got to add on the road to Big D to take on the Dallas Cowboys, who also will be coming off of a Thursday tilt as they play on Thanksgiving every year as well. Unfortunately for you, the Cowboys are going to be waiting on you, and they're actually really good on these Thursday night games. Guess what? You're at home, though. And so because you're at home, you're going to take care of these Dallas Cowboys, even though they're going to be a tough team late in the season looking for a win desperately. You're going to deny them access to that victory as you take care of business at home on a Thursday night. So now you go at Green Bay. You already had all your divisional games at the crib. You had all your fun. Now you got to pay for that shit late in the season. You got to go to Lambeau and try to win. Packers are looking to try to get in the postseason. They're looking to try to win this division. It's a battle. It's a fight, a brawl between family members who know each other well. And so you're going to go to Lambeau looking for a dub, but you're going to come out with a loss here as you don't get it done against the Packers. Then you turn around the following week, and this is a big game. Could be a preview of the Super Bowl. We don't know. You're going to hear a lot of people talking about that at that time. Could we be previewing Super Bowl fill in the blank? Okay, I don't know which one we're on. 52, 53? I think we've got 53 now. Are we previewing 53? Are we previewing 52? Whatever number the hell we at. Is this the one? Maybe. I don't know. But you're at home in this game. I do know that. And I know last year, this time, against a high-octane offense, you grounded them into oblivion. I think you do the same thing here. You find a way to get a win late in the season versus the Kansas City Chiefs. Now you got to go on the road again, and I told you that's not what you really want to be doing at this time of the year against divisional foes. You got Minnesota earlier in the year. You won't get them again this time. You're going to split with them. They take care of business, but not before you're able to post a 10-6 mark, which is good for second in the division at 4-2 in the division. It's a pretty good season for the Bears, and it's good enough to get them into the postseason. So we mosey right along from the team that won the division last year to a team that had won it the previous year. And a lot of people thought with Kirk Cousins, they're destined for the Super Bowl now, right? Right? Wrong. And so now what's the bounce back for the Vikings in 2019? Okay, Kirk Cousins, new offensive coordinator. A lot of things have been stabilized. The defense should be back to where they need to be. There was some drama with the defense last year with their leader off the field with some issues. He's back. So you'd like to think that everything's in order the way it's supposed to be now. Zimmer's got control of this team the way he wants. Had some issues with the play calling last year. All should be well in Minnesota. The offensive line, still a big enigma. Running game, still don't really know about that. But weaponry around Kirk Cousins at the skill positions is top notch. If he has time, he can get it done. Let's see what the Vikings do in 2019. So we start with week 1 at home versus the Atlanta Falcons. I think the Falcons are going to be a much improved team, but as we know, I've already done this. Don't think the Vikings are going to allow them to come into Minnesota week 1 and leave with a victory. The following week, you're at Green Bay. We already talked about that, or we didn't talk about it, but I think Green Bay is going to be a tough place for you to go and win. Last year, you should have lost that game in Green Bay because that should have been an interception when Kirk threw it late in the game, and they called it roughing the passer on Clay Matthews, which was a bogus call. Then you should have won the game after Kirk rallies you back, takes you down the field, gets you in the end zone, gets you the 2-point conversion to tie the game up, and puts you in a position to win in overtime several times, and you weren't able to do it. But bottom line is you're not going into Green Bay and winning that football game. I just don't see it happening. But the following week, the Oakland Raiders come to town, and I don't think these are the Raiders of the past where you just know, okay, that's a dub, but I still think that's a game that I expect you to win, and you're going to take care of business there. But then shit gets real for you, all right? And this is why I think your schedule is really tough, because a lot of your tough opponents, unlike some of the other teams in the division where they get them at home, you get them on the road, and that's going to make shit tough for you in 2019. But nonetheless, at the Bears, everybody's got to do it in the division, not just you. And unfortunately, you're not going to take care of business here because the Bears are a tough out at the crib. You found that out last year. But then the following week, a lot of people are going to beat me up for this, and I'm that rightfully so, because you probably aren't going to lose this football game. But my rationale was and remains that Golden Tate comes off a suspension. By that time, you're going to have a healthy Sterling Shepard. He may be ready to go week 1. Here's his hand, his thumb is healing up fine. Whatever the case may be, I think they're going to be a team that by week 5 is looking for their first win of the season. They get a big shot in the arm with Golden Tate returning to the offense. Saquon Barkley goes off. Golden Tate goes off. And voila, they get a win. It might not happen. Probably won't happen. But if you win that game, which you should win that game, then that will help your chances of making the postseason. But nonetheless, I got you losing that football game. So do I have you losing the very next game the next week at home versus Philadelphia. I have the Eagles coming into town and beating you there. So just like that, you start the season off 2-1, feeling good about yourself. You drop 3 straight, and ouch. Now you're 2-4. But when you're looking for a team to stop a skid, and none other than the Detroit Lions coming to town, or in this case, you going to Detroit, nothing like the old Lions to solve what other issues you have plaguing you at that time. And here come the Lions, and you know you can get a win off of those guys. The following week, short turnaround at the crib versus the Redskins. They're not going to be all that great either, and Kirk gets to see his old mates, and you get a win there too. So just like that, you're back to 500 at 4-4. And, you know, for me, this is the tough stretch, and this is what I'm talking about, where I say it's almost unfair, but that's life in the NFL, all right? You got to go to Kansas City. The Bears get Kansas City at the crib. Green Bay has to go to Kansas City. Detroit gets Kansas City at the crib. And you were like, man, Detroit's going to waste that at the crib, though. We should get that at the crib. I agree, but that's the way the cookie crumbles. And because you fought and scratched and clawed to get back to 500, and look how quickly they're going to take it away from you. At Kansas City, which is definitely a loss, all right? Then at Dallas the following week, that's another loss. And so just like that, boom, boom, you're back to 2 games under 500. And then to make matters worse, here come the Denver Broncos into town with that vaunted defense with Vic Fangio and Von Miller and Bradley Chubb. And they're out hunting for food and they looking to eat. And here comes Kirk Cousins in this offense. Nah, I'm bullshitting. You're going to win that football game. And so that's going to get you in a position going into your bye week where you feel like, okay, we've weathered the storm. We're at 5-6. If we can finish up this season strong, we have a shot after the bye. And look what they do to you out of the bye. Not only is it Seattle on the road, like last year, just like last year when you needed it and didn't get it, but it's also on Monday night. Ain't that about a bitch? Because you know you're not going to Seattle and winning on primetime television. Nobody does. Don't feel bad. Nobody beats these guys on primetime television, and you're not going to either. So now you're back 2 games under 500. Again, anytime you feel like you need a win, you call up the Lions, and they'll always oblige. And here comes the Detroit Lions to help you out once again. So you get the win there. But now you're at the Chargers, and I don't even know what that means, okay? I don't even know what that means. But you're at the Chargers, and it's on a Sunday night. So they're going to be juiced up. Whatever fans are there, they're going to be juiced up. It's just a tough environment, man. Again, not an easy place to play, not an easy one to go get. And I don't have you getting that one either. So now, Green Bay at the crib, Chicago at the crib. 2 teams in the division, back-to-back at the crib. You want any chance of making the postseason, which seems slim at this point, going to have both of them. And At this point of the season, you game and you ready for anything. And so you get both of those games to finish up the season. And unfortunately for you, though, comes too little, too late as you finish the season 8-8. And 8-8 ain't great. 4-2 in the division, so you took care of business in the division, but not good enough for a postseason berth. Now, obviously, you beat Minnesota, and let's say you beat the Chargers or some other team in there, like maybe Philadelphia at the crib. You owe them, right? So let's say you get Philly at the crib, and you get New York on the road the week prior. You're now 10-6, and you're a postseason football team. So you tweak one or two in there, and maybe you're in the playoffs, but I got you going 8-8 and just missing out on the show. So we go to the next team in the division, and it's the Green Bay Packers. Go, Pack, go! Go, Pack, go! We'll see how they do in 2019. Let's take a look at this schedule. Obviously, we got the week 1 tilt versus the Green Bay Packers or against the Chicago Bears week 1. That's a loss there. Week 2, home for Minnesota. That is a win there. And so now we slow it down because we've talked about those first 2 games, so I don't need to rehash those. Now you're at home versus Denver. And, I think the Denver Broncos are going to be good. I think they're going to play some defense, but I think the Packers are good enough at the crib to take care of business, get that win there. Following week, quick turnaround, Thursday Night Football at the crib versus the Philadelphia Eagles. Love this spot for the Packers. And so just like that, out of the gate, the Packers are 3-1 and feeling good about the start to their season. Everyone's loving Matt LaFleur and this new offense and all this hunky-dory in Green Bay. And then Dallas shows up on the schedule. You got to go to Big D Sunday at Dallas. You've won there before. I don't see you winning there this time. Got the Cowboys taking care of business there. But much like I said with the Vikings, anytime you feel like you need a win, just call up the good old Detroit Lions. And Detroit will usually respond and help you out. And the schedule makers made it a little bit easy on you by making this a primetime game. So going to be extra hard for them to come into Green Bay on a Monday night and get a win. Don't see it happening on the following week. And you know what? I really think the schedule makers, I don't want to say they necessarily did you a favor here, but at home versus the Raiders, a lot of winnable games early on the schedule for you. When you look at home versus the Detroit Lions, at home versus the Oakland Raiders. Again, we don't know how good these teams are going to be. These could be 2 of the better teams in football for all we know. But bottom line is, this is what I mean by the league set you up. In your first 7 games, 5 of them, yes, 5 of them are at home. If you're going to get off to a amazing start this season, you're going to do it at the crib. All right? Now, if you can't take care of business at Lambeau, then you're going to struggle in 2019. But if you take care of business early in the season at the crib, they are giving you your first 7 games, 5 are at home. Think about that for a second. 3 of them in a row at the crib. 3 in a row at the crib. Then followed by 1 roadie and 2 more in a row at the crib. If you can't take care of business early at the house, then you don't want to go to the postseason. So you've done that, though. All right, you've taken care of business at the crib, and that's why you're off to a 5-2 start to the season. Then you're at Kansas City on a Sunday night, which should be must-see TV. All right, AR-12 versus Patty Mahomes. That shit should get really raunchy quick with those 2 quarterbacks slinging around. It could get really funky fast out there for those defenses. That should be a lot of fun, but it's not going to be fun for you because you're not going to win the football game. But it's going to be fun for us because we're going to get to watch some entertaining football. That being said, the following week, you're on the road at the Chargers. And again, the Packers are one of the best fan bases in football in terms of traveling along with the Steelers and the Cowboys. You're going to go and take over Los Angeles and make that a home game. And because you're going to do that, you're going to win the football game. The following week, you're back home for the Carolina Panthers, who I think is going to be vastly improved, so much so that I think they come into Lambeau and actually give you your first home loss of the season. The following week, you go to San Francisco your bye week is that week. All right, let's get that to show up. So you got the bye week, all right? You take a little bit of a break before you head out west to San Francisco. Remember, those bastards almost came in with C.J. Beathard. All right, C.J. beat hard. Almost walked in the Lambeau and walked out with a dub. So don't take these boys for granted. And because of last year's shenanigans with Kyle Shanahan and company, you're not going to take that game for granted. You're going to make sure you go there focused off the bye week, take care of business, and that's what you're going to do. Following week, you got the New York Giants. I think they're going to be awful this year, so you take care of business there as well. So that's a good thing. Then the following week after that, you're at home for the Redskins. If this game were in Washington, you would lose because you struggle in Washington. This game is at home, and the Redskins struggle in Lambeau. Thus, you get another dub. So just like that, off of the loss, off before the bye, you come off the bye, and again, the schedule makers, they give you a couple of layups, man. The Giants probably not going to be that good. The Redskins probably not going to be that good. And then the 49ers, hell, we don't know what the hell they're going to be. Jimmy G didn't look too good in that preseason game. I'm not going to go run with that. I still think the 49ers have a chance to be really good. But you could get 3 layups right there for you to go and put in the hole. And you've done that again. So you're taking advantage of opportunities the schedule makers are giving you. Now you're at home for the Bears. They got you earlier in the season. I don't see them getting you the second time around, and thus you get the win there. And then you go to Minnesota on a Monday night. I do not like that spot for you there. But, again, anytime you need a win, who you call? Who you going to call? Nope, not the Ghostbusters. The Lions. Who you going to call? The Lions. And they got you on that dub, man. They got you on that dub. Hey, let me hold something till payday. Lions got you on that dub. All right, and so because the Lions in Week 17, you needed that in Week 17. Why? Because you finished just one game better than the Chicago Bears, and that one game puts you at 11-5 and in first place and winner of the NFC North in 2019. And so thank God for the Detroit Lions, right? That's what everybody in the division is saying. Speaking of the Detroit Lions, man, I know Lions fans are like, Louie T, F off, man. Hey, whatever, dude. All right? I've been a victim of the Detroit Lions for too many years now. Just like the Miami Dolphins, I've given up. All right? I can't tell you how many times I've fallen into the Detroit Lions trap. This is the year, man. Everybody's sleeping on the Lions. Look out for Matthew Stafford and company. Man, F that this year. All right? They're going to stink. All right? Just like the Giants are going to stink. Just like another team I'm not going to mention because we haven't done their division yet. They're going to stink too. They're going to be and every year you're going to have 4 or 5 teams that stink, and everybody else in the league has to beat up on them. That's how it goes. And for the 2019 season, that team's going to be the Detroit Lions. And really, I don't trust Patriot coaches, so I don't trust Matt Patricia. He didn't impress me. You know how we already said, man, Mike Vrabel looks like he's legit in Tennessee, and you know Matt Nagy, man, he jumped in there and took the Bulls by the horn in Chicago, and they ready to roll. I don't feel that vibe. All right, I don't feel that vibe in Detroit with Matt Patricia. All right, so he's got to win me over, and I might be underrating their defense. Their defense might be a little bit better than I'm giving them credit for. And maybe they jump up and surprise some teams, and maybe they do some things that I'm not expecting, but nah, I'm not giving them the benefit of the doubt. They got to show me, man. I've done it too many times where I gave them the benefit of the doubt, and I had to wipe egg all off my face and wash my face and get my mind right because I thought the Lions were going to be good. Not this year. You won't get me, your man Louie T. So let's run through this slate real quick. I'm going to make this as painless as possible because you already know. You already know what's coming. So I'm going to try to make it as painless as possible. So here we go. Week 1 at Arizona. If you were home, I think this would actually be a win, but you don't know what to expect from Kyler Murray and this group. I think they're going to pull out all the stops week 1 to try to get the win, and I think, unfortunately for you, that's going to lead to a loss. All right. The next week, though, you surprise some people because everybody thinks the Chargers are going to be so good. I don't. And why do I think they're not going to be as good? Because they're not going to beat you in week 2. You want to be serious? You got to beat the Lions, man. Especially at the crib. Well, in this case, it's at Detroit, but doesn't matter. You're going to take care of business there to run your record to 1-1 on the season. And then everybody's going to be like, oh, here we come. Here come the Lions. And I'm like, ugh. At Philadelphia the following week. No. Then you're home for Kansas City. Does it really matter? Home, away, London, Planet earth, moon, sun, stars. Doesn't matter. You're not beating the Kansas City Chiefs. And so just like that, you're 1-3 heading into your bye. And that's a funky bye right there. But it doesn't matter. You don't want to waste a good bye. A good bye. You hear that one? All right. We wasted the good bye on you. We don't want to waste a good bye in 2019 if you're the Lions. Save your good week 8, week 9 bye. Save that for a season where you actually could be really good. That's not this year. So you come off the bye. You're at Green Bay on a Monday night. Ouch. That's a loss. The following week, you're home for Minnesota, but nobody in the division respects you anymore. So that's a loss. Then you got the Giants at the crib, man. The Giants are going to stink. So that's a win opportunity, and you're going to take full advantage in week 7. Then after that, it's going to be a while, man. Grab a Snickers, all right? Saddle in, all right? It's going to be a while, but at least you won't be hungry. Grab a Snickers, man, because it's going to be a while before you get a dub. All right, so at Oakland, very winnable football game. But guess what? The Raiders are at the crib, not you, and so that's a loss. At Chicago, man, do I need to say anything else other than no? Home for Dallas, that's a winnable football game, but nah, bro. At Washington, again, another winnable football game, but Then you're home on Thanksgiving Day for the Bears, and like I said, I'm not gonna rehash this, but it used to be a time when the Bears, or anyone for that matter, that came into Detroit on Thanksgiving, they had to pay. All right? There was a certain level of respect that was shown to the Lions on Thanksgiving Day. That shit is gone. That shit is dead. Don't nobody respect you in your house on Thursdays on Thanksgiving. No more. And the Bears, not going to show you that respect that you're looking for either. Now, Minnesota at Minnesota. Now I'm playing. Ain't no now. That's a loss too. But here we go. Late in the season, Tampa Bay. All right. At the crib. Yeah. This is a doable one here. What do you think? Yeah. Let's get you one. All right. Now, at Denver. Late in the season. This could be a Saturday game. It's one of those TBDs. You know how those go. They can flex you to Saturday. Feels like a flexible Saturday game. And then the final game of the season, Packers. I was going to give you this game. I said, they're not going to get swept by the entire division. No, it's not going to happen. And then I said, oh, that's right. Green Bay needs this game for the division. So, yeah, you know how that goes, man. Come on. Come up off that dub. So, out. Yeah, 3-13. And I know Lions fans are like, man, bro, we don't even do that in our worst season. And I'm like, you do remember 0-16, right? That was before Stafford, though. I know. I'm not saying. I'm just saying. Whatever. 3-13, 0-6 in the division. I'm sorry. No, I'm not. Anyway, so that's this division in a nutshell. I've got 2 teams making the postseason from this division to round out the NFC playoffs. So in the NFC, you've got New Orleans. You've got the 2 teams in this division, Chicago and the Green Bay Packers. You've got the Philadelphia Eagles. And then you've got the Rams and Seahawks. So I've got the Rams as a number 1 seed, I believe. Let's quickly take a look at this. See if I can get the seeding down pat for you here. I've got the Rams as the number 1 seed. I've got the Packers as the 2 seed. I've got the Saints as the 3rd seed. I've got the Eagles, as the 3rd seed. Saints as the 4th seed. I've got the Seattle Seahawks as the 5 seed, and I've got they're the 6th seed. I've got the Chicago Bears as the 5 seed. So there you have it. The NFC is all done, and those are your 6 postseason participants. So join me live as we break this division down, and I give you guys the floor. Tell me what you think. Am I crazy? Lions fans, do you want to lambaste me? You're going to have the number. You're going to have Twitter. You're going to have YouTube Live. I'd love to hear from you guys. What did I get wrong? I know my man, Nick and Knight, is going to kill me for his Vikings missing the postseason 2 years in a row, going 8-8. Hey, I'm here for it, man. I'm ready for the smoke. All of it. I'm taking it all in, and I'm going to give it right back to you. So come join me live as we break this division down. If it's not your man, Louie T, it's not the best NFL coverage it could be. Until next time, I'm your man, Louie T, signing off. You guys, have a good one.
Louie T Network.